Auto chaps, I'm MagicalMike, and I'd like to take a minute and sit right here, and I used this intro last year, didn't I? In fact, I strongly considered reusing all of my old footage as well, because you probably wouldn't notice. I mean, everything I said in last year's video is still 100% relevant, because that's what we got this year. Yep, we got exactly the same content from last year with no changes whatsoever. Let me front load this video by saying this and making it very, very clear. I do not mind the repeated content. I expected it. It's how the holidays were supposed to be designed. Now, a lot of people would be very angry with it, and a few people are, but not as many as some people like to think. There are, however, as per sodding usual, some glaringly stupid things that I do have problems with. A couple of these things are minor nitpicky things, but two specific things are downright insulting. And some people can sit on their high horse and say, "We told you this stuff would be the same, stop QQing and suck it up, it's free content and you can't complain about that, herp-a-derp-a-derp." And to that I say no, we can complain, and we should. Because ANET only seems to really come back and reply to us when the community gets riled up about that stuff. And again, that's not to say that the whole holiday event sucks, because it was okay last year, and it's still okay this year. However, what I am trying to do is call you people out. Yeah, you guys who ignore the bad stuff all the time and only see the good, you need to stop doing that and speak up. There are bad things, and it's okay to be slightly critical of those things. The more people that ignore them and still buy gems and do all this stuff, the more that ArenaNet's metrics come back and say that they can get away with this stuff and it's totally fine. But this is more relevant to what I'll say about the final part of this video. The actual content that we got is fine. Now, I'm still not a fan of zerging the labyrinth, and it seems that a lot of players aren't either, because, well, it was empty on patch night. The point is already sort of made right there. Nobody really wants to go do the labyrinth, it's done, and that's because there's no special stuff to do elsewhere. It feels like there's even less to do this year, even though there isn't. The fact that there's an outfit that you can earn is pretty good, actually. In fact, that's really cool. I'm actually going to work for that, and I'll do it, although it'll be pretty quick. The reskinned candy corn mini and the reskinned cat mini, though, are pretty lazy, in my opinion. I didn't necessarily mind that, but the repeated achievements really got my back up for some reason. I already did all of this stuff last year, and can also still see that achievement category from last year, still named the same thing in fact, all 100%ed, and I don't like that I not only have to replay the same content as last year, but that I also have exactly the same goals to do as well, which is probably a big reason that some people aren't in the labyrinth. So it's safe to say that I'm not that interested in going and doing it, but I did start to go and do the PvP Stomp achievement in the Heart of the Mist, because last year you could stomp the NPCs there for credit. But not this time, which kind of annoyed me, because there was no reason to change that. The Master Carver I also found in Lion's Arch, and I went and spoke to him, and he was quick to inform me that I was a novice at carving pumpkins, and that I should talk to him much later, when I think I have more experience with the art. Which is funny that, because I'm already a Master Carver. Anyway, the big things that people are particularly angry at seem 100% legitimate to me. It seems so stupid that we can get so angry about this stuff, but we as players are losing the patience with these constant practices that we keep getting. And that's not to say that I'm so angry, because it's just fucking video games and it's not worth getting angry over, but I still have to give my opinions. So firstly, the living story excuses are probably the biggest insult to us. They don't open up Super Adventure Box because it doesn't fit in with the current story arc, but then they go and open up last year's Halloween story despite that not fitting in either, because the canon doesn't make any sense at all, that the same things happening and the same stories happening and the same NPCs are saying the same things over again. So you can kind of see why people are pissed off, because the things that we get told are, well, they're bullshit. They have double standards here. Why does this excuse apply to Super Adventure Box, but not to other things? I can fully understand that they don't want to do Super Adventure Box, and I understand that. I get it. But the excuse as to why it wasn't done this year is what gets me, and what should be getting other people too. What is the real reason, I wonder? I'd like to know. We can handle it. Just go ahead and tell us, we just don't want to do Super Adventure Box. Okay, at least you're not lying to us, but the current excuse just doesn't make any sense. But the biggest thing by far that everybody is, well, it's no short thing to say that they're enraged about it, is the change to the currency exchange systems in the gem store, and it looks like an utter farce to me. You can now only buy a minimum of 400 gems for gold, and the exchange rate for gems to gold has mysteriously gone way down. Now there's excuses for this and I don't really trust them, but hey. This change seems awkward, and for many reasons it feels like it's only there to get more money out of people in a sort of shady way. I myself can't even put it into words how I feel about it. I'm just not happy, and there's more to it than that. But I'm gonna butcher your name here. Charikayu on Reddit made a reply that seemed to sum it up pretty well, so I'll just read that right off. He or she says that this is the kind of BS that shows that ArenaNet has no interest in respecting their players. I don't know if it's ArenaNet, by the way, I'm just reading what he or she has to say. They use the guise of simplicity to set up a market that is both cumbersome and unfair to players in order to force a marginal amount of players to spend real money on gems when they can't afford to exchange in denominations with actual gold. The same thing that Microsoft got in a heap of shit for doing a few years ago. And for those who don't understand what I mean, here is an example. A player who doesn't have a lot of time, but has a lot of money, in other words they have a job, buys gems. They buy 800 gems and purchase a 500 gem item, which leaves them with 300 left over. And then they decide that they want to purchase a 400 gem item, but they need 100 more gems. On the new system, they can't convert gold into only 100 gems. They need to convert at least 400 gems worth of gold. But they don't have that much gold, and because they don't have a lot of time to play the game, because they've got a job and they've got a life and all that stuff, they can't farm it. And 400 gems isn't cheap, it's over 75 gold right now. Thus, this person must spend real money again on more gems at a minimum of $10 for 800 gems, even though they only wanted 100 gems. This kind of practice is not, quote, eliminating confusion, it's a practice to squeeze more money out of players, and is basically one step below extortion. I'm not sure if I agree with that part, but it's still bad. Anyway, to make matters worse, it's being intentionally presented to players as helping them, and that is truly despicable. Oh, and by the way, let's take a look at what's actually in the store. Costumes priced at 700 gems, accessory hats priced at 200 gems and other stuff like that, harvesting sickles at 1000 gems. You want any of those things? Let's say you want the hat and the costume, well that's 900 gems. But you can't buy 800 gems and then convert gold for another 100, you need to convert at least 400 gems worth of gold. And if you can't convert that much, well then you're forced to buy another 800 gems. ArenaNet, or somebody controlling this thing, I don't know, they know exactly what they're doing. And the thing is, they probably planned for this as well. They probably knew at least a few people would know exactly what they're doing, and I bet you that they ran some metrics and said that their decrease in revenue by people who would get infuriated by this change was far less than the increase in revenue by players who are forced into buying gems in the new system. And in a world where players are numbers and not people, that's just a win to them. Anyway, and that's where his or her post ends, and really I'm feeling more and more like how this person feels. I haven't bought anything from the gem store in a long time, even stuff that seemed useful or cool like the harvesting tools. I just don't bother because it isn't worth it to spend that amount of money on such a tiny little thing in the game. Either way, ArenaNet have responded, and Gail Gray relayed the initial messages on the forums, and again, I'm not trying to shoot the messenger here. I reckon she got told what to say by some kind of chain of command from right at the top somewhere by someone that has no idea. And here's what she had to say. A few tidbits from the team. A lot of newer players had trouble with the interface. That doesn't apply to you because you're veterans who have been around the conversion system a block or time or two. Newer players will benefit from the updated system. The goal was to make the gem store more like other shopping experiences, and if you think about it, there is more of that feel to it now. You may be surprised to know this, I know I was, but very few people bought gems at smaller denominations than the first one offered in the new system. And that's not to say that they never did, nor that there wouldn't be the desire to do so, but overall, the current options were selected based on player purchases in the past. The team is going to listen to your feedback, and if and when it's practical and desirable, they can look towards adjusting the new system to better meet your needs. There's just a couple of things to say on this really. I don't really see how the conversion interface was so confusing that they had to remove all the lower tier and custom options. I don't see how newer players will benefit from having fewer options, and I don't think that anyone needed it to be, quote, like other shopping experiences. Besides, we just typed a number and clicked a button. How was that confusing? The solution, it seems to me, is pretty easy, and I don't think that they're unaware of it, but let me just say it. Firstly, put back the old custom gold to gems and gems to gold conversion. That's a simple thing. Secondly, maybe put in some lower tier options like 50 or 100 gem purchases for people. And lastly, stop using new players as some sort of scapegoat. It isn't fair. Again, this seems like an okay patch, completely ruined by a couple of massive blunders, and I have to wonder who it is that's making these calls again, and wonder if they're starting to hurt more than actually help the game. Is it NCSoft? Is it some kind of backseat high up guy? Is it the monetization official from Nexon? I don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know, but I'm pretty sure it's someone who doesn't actually develop Guild Wars 2. This stuff comes at a bad time after multiple such mistakes and issues recently, and during a massive content drought, and hopefully this sort of thing doesn't continue. But thanks for watching, maybe try Guild Wars 1 Halloween instead, and I'll see you guys next time.